Salamence EX is such a unique card in the Pokemon TCG. With Manaphy now out of rotation, its wide blast attack can spread 50 damage across the bench for only 3 energy. 50 damage might not seem like very much at first, but when paired with other Pokemon, it can add up really quickly. Salamence also has a Dragon Impact attack, which does 300 damage, similar to Pikachu. The strategy for this deck is actually going to rely less on Dragon Impact and more on combining Wide Blast with Froslass damage, then hopefully using a TM de-evolution to wipe the board. The downside to this strategy is that Wide Blast can't hit a Terra Pokemon, and not every Pokemon has an ability for Froslass to damage, but most of the time you can disrupt your opponent just enough to make a difference. We are also including a few Munkidori in this deck to be able to send additional Froslass damage to our opponent. This adds to the damage that we can put on the board and helps us be a little more targeted with our knockouts. We have a Bloodmoon Ursaluna in this deck to clean up those end of game prize cards. We go behind in prize cards in most games while Froslass and Salamence soften up the board, so by the end of the game, most Pokemon are well within Bloodmoon Ursaluna's range for an easy knockout when energy is low. Budew and Cleffa are both really helpful in this deck as well to help stall our opponent while we apply damage, or to give us a consistent hand of new cards. For supporters, we have the classics like 4 Arven to make sure we can always find our tools like TM Evo or de-evolution. 3 Crispin are also super helpful to build up our Salamence while also getting Munkidori the dark energy that it needs. I've found Brock's Scouting to be really helpful lately. It's like using an Ultra Ball but not having to discard 2 cards beforehand, so we added one of those to this deck. I also have one Morty's Conviction to help draw a bunch of cards when we play against an Area 0 deck that likes to put a bunch of Pokemon on the bench at once. We have 2 Stadiums, one Artazon to help get set up, but also a Gravity Mountain. This helps bring some really popular Pokemon like Gardevoir or Dragapult down below 300 HP so Dragon Impact can knock them out in one shot. Our ace spec is Neo Upper Energy, just like we had in our last 2 videos with Hydreigon. It's technically possible to use a Crispin, attach a Neo Upper Energy from hand, and attach a Counter Gain to set up a Dragon Impact attack in just 1 turn. Now, this deck isn't quite consistent enough to win tournaments or anything, but it's a ton of fun when it works out, so if you find this video helpful or just enjoy watching, please hit that like button below. And we start out this game with just a massive hand, which I love. Our opponent had to mulligan 3 times, we got 3 extra cards, but we have a Buddy Poffin, we also have an Arven, which is like the ideal start for most decks really, but we have a Cleffa on our active spot and a Snorunt on the bench, and our opponent just passes. They don't attach an energy or anything, so we have a bunch of options here. We start out with our Buddy Poffin, and seeing that everything that our opponent is going to be using will have an ability, I really want to get these Snorunt and Froslass into play, so we'll go ahead and prize check really quick, make sure we have the TM Evo in the deck, which we do. Put down a Bagon and a Snorunt. We also have a second Froslass in our hand, so we know we can get that into play in our next turn. And I consider this Munkidori for a second. I'm trying to decide if I want to use TM Evo to evolve both of these Snorunt or just the Bagon and one of the Snorunt, and I think that's what I end up doing. I also consider taking a rare candy here, and I think I decide against that in a moment because we're going to be using the TM Evo on that Bagon to get to a Shelgon. We go ahead with the Earthen Vessel here for some energy in our next turn. We also have Crispin in hand. We'll probably end up using that for energy as well. So we go ahead and attach our TM Evo. We attach the energy from our hand, which is great. And then I do end up deciding to put the Munkidori down to build up a little bit of damage on it. Seeing that we have Crispin in hand, we can put a Dark Energy on it in our next turn. I wouldn't want to put the monkey down too early if I didn't have a way to get to a Dark Energy in our next turn, because then I would just cook my own Munkidori with the Froslass. But it's okay to let it build up 2 damage counters to be able to send to our opponent in the next turn. So this was a pretty ideal turn 1. If we get to keep this hand, it's even better. We have a Froslass that we can put straight down. We have a Salamence that we can put straight down on the Shelgon. And then we have Crispin just to go ahead and get our energy going. If they're able to take a knockout on that Cleffa, we have Counter Catcher, which is insane. But our opponent starts out with their Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking. They'll find 2 cards, put them on top of their deck, and I'm assuming this means they have a Golden Go in hand, and they can use Coin Bonus to draw whatever the top card is that they put down here. So they go ahead and choose their 2 cards. And let's see if they'll put down that Golden Go. No, they just attach an energy to start out, which is a metal energy, so they will be able to attack in their next turn, and they just pass. So we put down another damage counter with our Froslass, and it comes back to us. So we go ahead, do all of our evolving here. We actually drew straight into a Neo Upper Energy, which is great as well. If we want to use our Crispin in this turn and we get to keep this hand, we can just slap down that Neo Upper Energy in our next turn and start doing our Wide Blast attack. So things are starting out here pretty good. We go ahead and put 1 Fire Energy on Salamence. I kind of wanted to prioritize Crispin on this turn to make sure Munkidori got his Dark Energy. And we go ahead and use Adrenabrain to send this damage to our opponent. Now, playing against something which is a single evolution makes it pretty easy to TM Devo them in the future. So we just have to get past that 50 damage mark on a Golden Go, and then if we use TM De-Evolution, they'll get knocked out when we use that. So we're just 3 damage counters away from knocking that out in the future. We'll start piling some stuff up on Fezandipity, and then if they ever want to evolve this Togepi, that'll start racking up some damage counters as well. But they're kind of stuck from attacking us. They need to put an energy on this Togepi and get it out of the way if they want to start attacking. And I know that my Salamence is also in a little bit of danger. If they're able to get Energy Search Pro from their deck, get all of their energy in their hand, they can easily knock out Salamence. So that's also a reason I didn't want to use the Neo Upper Energy right away. They ended up Ionoing it away anyways, as we just saw a moment ago. They go ahead and evolve to a Togetic. Put down this Stadium that I believe, lets you get an Electric Energy in play. So now I also am thinking about Fezandipity's attack. I believe that does 100 damage to something on the bench, so they could take out a Froslass if they're able to build up Fezandipity. But until they move this Togetic, I'm happy to just sit behind Cleffa, draw some cards with Grasping Draw, and then send some damage across the way with Froslass and Munkidori. So yeah, as long as they have a bunch of abilities in play, I'm chilling. I'm just sitting here, kind of building up Salamence for a future attack, but letting the damage counters stack up. Okay, so back to our turn. Get an Arven in hand and Iono if we want to. And plenty of energy to continue adding up to Salamence's future attack. We go ahead and Adrenabrain, and I believe I put it on the new Gimmighoul here just to get closer to that 50 mark. Again, we don't have to knock it out now. It's more fun to let them evolve to a Golden Go and then just TM De-Evolution that in the future anyways. But we'll just go ahead and draw a couple cards and let that damage continue to build up. Again, Salamence can be in a little bit of trouble if they Boss's Orders it up, but even if they do so, they'll still have to take 4 more prize cards, and if they do so 1 at a time, these damage counters between turns can really add up quickly. So they go ahead and get their second Golden Go. Since we put 3 damage counters on that already, when they send it back to our turn, they'll get the 2 more damage counters on their Golden Go. So both of those are pretty much already in range to be knocked out by our TM De-Evolution. And then we can really just start stacking up maybe some Munkidori damage on the Togetic in front of us, or on Fezandipity on the bench if we want to speed up the rate in which that gets knocked out. But it's kind of just a time game at the moment. If they want to have a chance in this game, they need to quickly take some prize cards and start doing so probably on this turn. They go ahead and pass back to us, and again, as long as that Togetic is blocking, I'm good to just let the damage build up. Go ahead and get another Salamence here. And then I could have saved this Arven to find a TM De-Evolution in the future. I end up getting a Buddy PAF and then just a Rescue Board. I don't want to show the TM Devo at the moment. But I probably could have grabbed this Buddy PAF to put down a Bagon much sooner than I did, probably on the last turn. But we decided to go ahead and do that on this turn. Put our last energy on Salamence that it needs for Wide Blast, and then just speed up this damage on the bench. So I decided not to TM Devo quite yet, because if I knock out all 3 of the Pokemon on the bench, that's just 6 straight prize cards at once. That's a good way to win the game as long as they don't have like a Professor Turo or something in hand. And while we're working on that, I'm going to go ahead and put some energy or some damage with Munkidori on the Togetic, just to speed up that process as well. So everything is allowed to have a little bit of damage here in between turns and send it back to them. But that's the beauty of this deck. If your opponent kind of stalls for a little bit, you get extra time just to let Froslass do its thing. They go ahead and use a Boss's Orders, which I figure was going to be some for one of the Froslass, so that they would be able to slow down the rate in which those damage counters are happening. But this tells me that they definitely don't have a knockout with Golden Go. If they're just going to stall here for a little bit, and use Togetic. I don't think Togetic's going to attack here, so it might just be stalling. But, you know, I can easily just retreat this Munkidori, get back into Salamence. I also have an Iono in hand if I want to try and Iono myself back into like another Dark Energy or something, so that's always possible. Freezing Shroud continues to build up here, and we'll see how we want to approach this. I think one more Wide Blast could put Fezandipity out. It could also get those Golden Goes pretty close to knocked out. So Iono, I believe we just evolved another Salamence. Go ahead and Iono here. So we'll have to pause here because our opponent actually concedes after this. But rewinding for a quick second, the plan with this current hand that we have was going to be to retreat our Munkidori, put a new Dark Energy on it, and then go ahead and use Wide Blast one more time to do some more damage. And just kind of knock out all 6 of those prize cards as soon as possible on the bench. We also have TM De-Evolution if we wanted to knock out both of those Golden Goes, so that was also an option. But yeah, this game was pretty one-sided because there was so much stalling. And this next game has a terrible start as Bloodmoon Ursaluna is our starting Pokemon. So that's such a big bummer. That's definitely an end-of-game Pokemon we'd like to see because I don't really have a way to retreat it in this deck, honestly. I don't have any Professor Turo scenario, which maybe we can add one. But there's like a rescue board that would take away 1 of the energy or the retreat costs. But other than that, I'm just kind of accepting that unfortunately this Bloodmoon Ursaluna is going to get knocked out and we're going down 2 prize cards early. I also think we're playing against Raging Bolt because I see a Tailmask Ogerpon, a Latias, a Hoot Hoot Noctowl Draw Engine. There's also a Lily's Clefairy, which I don't remember if that's common in a Raging Bolt deck, I don't know. But they go ahead and get out a Fan Rotom here to grab some more Hoot Hoot, a Noctowl, and I believe they also set down a Ditto at the same time. So this could have been my first clue that this was not a Raging Bolt deck. They go ahead and put down Ditto here. They retreat their Tailmask Ogerpon. And then they use Transformative Start to search up something else. So in my head here, I'm still playing Raging Bolt. I don't realize that it doesn't have a Raging Bolt in this deck yet, but we'll see pretty soon what they end up getting. Cornerstone Ogerpon. So abilities are shut down. Not that Bloodmoon Ursaluna is doing much with its ability at this point anyway. Go ahead and Buddy PAF in. And I just kind of skip the Bagon for now and go straight for Snorunt to get some Froslass in play. Make sure I have at least 2 in the deck. Make sure TM Evo is there as well. Plenty of energy, and we have 2 Arven in hand. Because with everything on their bench that has an ability, I know if I get out these Froslass, we can just start cooking those Pokemon as soon as possible. We go ahead and grab an Earthen Vessel so that we can get an energy out. Not going to need Gravity Mountain in this matchup because there's no stage 2s that we're looking at. We go ahead and get a Water and a Dark. A Dark for a future Munkidori that I'm hoping to get, and a Water because I want to save the Fire energy for our possible Salamence EX that we can set up. We go ahead and use TM Evo, get both of these Snorunt evolved into Froslass, and start get some damage in play. Because again, what we're looking at with the Cornerstone Ogerpon, Tailmask Ogerpon, Latias, Lily's Clefairy, and Fan Rotom, those all have abilities. Once Noctowl is evolved, that will also have an ability. So everything on this bench will be racking up some damage counters in between turns. And I also don't want to get a Salamence EX into play too quickly because, again, I thought I was playing Raging Bolt. They could easily knock out a Salamence EX if they get the energy on the board quicker than I can get, my attack off. So I'm still a little bit worried about that at this time being. And we can work on maybe getting some of that set up with our next Arven in our next turn. But they go ahead and use their Noctowl Jewel Seeker ability to draw a Nest Ball and an Iono. Get something else out here. And I think this Nest Ball is when it finally settles in that I'm not playing Raging Bolt. We'll see what they use first. Yep, the Nest Ball. And unfortunately, seeing that Iono means that I'm probably going to lose my Arven here that's in hand and the Pokégear. So we'll see what we draw into in our next turn if they use that Iono. There it goes. But you'll see they put down a Wellspring Ogerpon. So now I'm thinking more of like a Terra Box thing. I thought Terra Box usually had like a Pikachu in it as well, but I don't see that here. So just kind of an interesting like Cornerstone Box Terra deck. We ended up getting some pretty good things off the Iono. So I was bummed to lose that Arven, but we did get a Bagon, and we did get Crispin for energy. We also got Munkidori. So plenty of ways to set up and start moving some of this energy off of Bloodmoon Ursaluna if we want to. They go ahead and E-switch an energy onto Fan Rotom to put down 70 damage with Assault Landing, and then back to us. So let's see what we can get set up in this turn. Have Froslass put down some more damage. We get a second Munkidori. So we go ahead and put one of those down, also get a Bagon down, and then Crispin can get some energy out. So we'll slowly start getting Salamence ready to attack with this fire energy to start, and then also a dark energy for Munkidori, and see if we can at least extend the life of this Bloodmoon Ursaluna a little bit. Use Adrenabrain to place some damage here. And I choose the Teal Mask Ogerpon. I think at the moment I'm worried that that's going to end up being a problem in the future. Like if I have my Salamence out with 3 or 4 energy attached to it, and they have a Teal Mask Ogerpon that has a bunch of energy attached to it, they could probably take me out in 2 hits, whereas like a Wellspring Ogerpon is going to take many attacks to take out a Salamence. So I think I would like that Teal Mask Ogerpon to go away. Maybe I should have spent more time on the Lily's Clefairy, seeing that if they have a big bench that can add up pretty quickly, and Salamence is a dragon Pokemon, so that could be scary. I maybe should have prioritized that a little bit, but we just put down our damage, and it's their turn, so we'll see what they want to do. If they want to use Fan Rotom to attack once more, or if they want to set up this Wellspring Ogerpon, because I believe Torrential Pump with Wellspring Ogerpon will put 100 damage on the active, and then they'll put 120 damage on my bench, so they could knock out a Froslass. They could take out a Munkidori, which is probably what they want to do. And they use Crispin to put 1 energy on the Wellspring Ogerpon. And I know they're just like a Sparkling Crystal and 1 more energy away from that attack. So we'll see if they want to do it in this turn. Down goes another Teal Mask Ogerpon. Teal Dance to bring up some more energy. We also know that they have E-Switch in the deck, or they've used 1 already, so they could always E-Switch over to the Wellspring Ogerpon with the Sparkling Crystal. But back to our turn. Damage counters go all over the board, and they knock out their own Fan Rotom. Well, they don't knock it out, but the damage knocks it out. You get it. We'll see what they want to promote here. They go into the Cornerstone Ogerpon. We get a Shelgon in play. Seeing that we have a rare candy in hand, I'd love to get to an Arven, which we see with our Pokégear here, which is great. And then this way I can protect my Bagon from being knocked out if they're going to get to a Wellspring Ogerpon attack. So instead of using this Shelgon to evolve, we're going to go ahead and, don't think about it, don't do that. There we go, put Arven down, get our Ultra Ball out, and then nothing to really TM Devo here. Counter Gain doesn't seem too helpful at the moment because they're not really taking out prize cards. So we just go with the Rescue Board in case they try and trap a Froslass or something, so that we don't have to waste an energy on it. So we go ahead and put Ultra Ball down, get rid of this Shelgon, and I believe this Super Rod, because I'm not really losing too much energy so far, and maybe I could use that in the future to get back this Bloodmoon Ursaluna or something, but I know I have a Night Stretcher in front of me. I think I kind of give up on the ability to get this Bloodmoon Ursaluna back anyways. But we go ahead and use Adrenabrain, continue targeting this Teal Mask Ogerpon with the energy on it. And come to think of it, I probably really should have gone for that Lily's Clefairy. But more damage counters go down. I'm checking out Wellspring Ogerpon here because it worries me. Yeah, I think I kind of half point to Ursaluna and Munkidori here because that's what I think they're going to do. They go ahead and evolve another Noctowl for some more draw support, so they have access to pretty much all the cards they need, or they want to have at the moment. It just seems like their deck is missing one big attacker. I mean, the Lily's Clefairy is right there, and I'm using a dragon Pokemon. So in my head, they would use this counter catcher, bring out the Salamence, and have that Lily's Clefairy built up. I haven't seen a Psychic Energy at all, though. I don't know why they would have the Lily's Clefairy in the deck without Psychic Energy. But they're going to go for the Wellspring Ogerpon anyways. And they really didn't need to use that counter catcher, because doing 100 to the active and 120 to the bench, they could have just left Bloodmoon Ursaluna where it was, knocked it out with the 100 damage, and the 120 could have gone onto the Froslass. So that counter catcher I don't think was really necessary. But either way, it probably would have been more helpful to knock out the Froslass here and the bench Froslass, which is what I thought they were doing, either that or the Munkidori. Would have been a little more impactful, and then they could have just saved this Bloodmoon Ursaluna for a future knockout. So that was probably the right play, but they do go ahead and knock out the Bloodmoon Ursaluna on the bench. So questionable call there. I think allowing me to continue hurting them with either 2 Froslass or a Froslass and a Munkidori is a little bit of a mistake, seeing that Bloodmoon Ursaluna wasn't hurting them much until the end of the game anyways. But they allow it to live on. So this water energy can be attached. Now I know with this Night Stretcher I can get 1 more water energy for a Wide Blast attack in our next turn, but no way to get to that right now. So all we can really do is Adrenabrain, put 30 more damage forward. And I believe we just continue targeting this Teal Mask Ogerpon so that it gets knocked out after this turn, and I'll get 2 more prize cards. Go ahead and end our turn, let those damage counters fall, and knock out the Teal Mask Ogerpon. Ooh, and a Knockout. I didn't even see that was getting close in our replay here, but 3 kind of passive prize cards is always nice. We also have a Rare Candy and a Salamence if we can get another Bagon down. But again, thinking about this game back, I was not worried about that Lili's Clefairy at all, and now I am. Watching it back, they really should have used that, seeing that there's a Salamence sitting right in front of them. They could build up their bench to be pretty big and take a knockout pretty easily. I think that does 20 damage for each Pokemon on our bench and their bench. So doing 240 with their bench, probably another 8320. Yeah, I think they have a knockout with Lili's Clefairy if they are to put down a Psychic Energy and something else on it. So maybe they prize the Psychic Energy or something like that. Don't know why I'm questioning that so much in this playthrough. But they go ahead and put down yet another Wellspring Ogerpon. They still have the Sparkling Crystal. So being ahead in prize cards, with me being ahead in prize cards, they can use a Counter Catcher once again. And if they want to take out both the Froslass and the Munkidori, they can. So that would definitely slow down progress a little bit. If I get to keep this hand, I'll still be able to Wide Blast and put some more damage on the bench. But they do have to take 3 more prize cards. So they need to knock out everything that I have in front of them right now. And that Lili's Clefairy is really the only way they're going to knock out this Salamence in more than like 2 or 3 turns at this point. So they go ahead and use Boss's Orders, put the Froslass in front of them. So they just need like, I guess if they can't use Crispin anymore, they can't get 2 energy on it. So they can only get 1 energy down, meaning they might just be going for a Sob lock here to keep me from retreating. And that way I can't use Wide Blast with Salamence, because I don't have a switch or anything like that in the deck either. So that's twice in this game that not being able to switch is hurting us with Bloodmoon Ursaluna and with this Sob lock here. Get another Bagon out. Don't believe I want to put that down because they need 3 prize cards to win. And I want them to have to work through my Salamence instead of being able to go around it. We go ahead, use Night Stretcher since it's in our hand, and get out this energy to put on the Salamence. A Wide Blast attack is really our only hope to end this game out or to finish it out, seeing that we don't have our Bloodmoon Ursaluna anymore. But now we start targeting the Lili's Clefairy with that extra damage. Put down the rescue board, you just gotta check. I know I can't retreat, but you never know. Sometimes there are bugs in this game, gotta see what it's gonna let me do. We go ahead and pass from there. A little bit more damage goes down. And we'll see how our opponent wants to play this. That's their supporter for the turn. It's gonna be Professor's Research. So we'll see if they get 1 more energy with that. They do. So they can knock out both of our Munkidori and Froslass in this turn. If they do so, Wide Blast wins. So I don't know if they have some other kind of sneaky play to get around it. Also, if I'm able to get 1 more energy on our Salamence, we could use the Dragon Impact attack and do 300 damage. So possible multiple ways to win this game. But if they just go ahead and take out Froslass and Munkidori here, then we Wide Blast for the win. And that seems like what it's going to be. They're going to Torrential Pump. Not sure if there's anything else they could have done at this point. Like if they waited, then Munkidori and Froslass just kind of continue to put damage on the board. But they go ahead and take 2 prize cards. And then Salamence comes in to clean it up with our single wide blast attack of the game. Put our damage down, and that's all she wrote.
You're still here? It's over. Go watch another video. Go.